So the Indian Act, one thing that it did to us was it's only for us as Indigenous people in the country who signed with treaties, and we fall under the Indian Act. So there was the Blackfoot people there, so they had to translate. There were the Métis there, Jerry Potts there. There was the English translation. There was the Yithka or Stoney translation that had to go through. So it had to go through all these translations, and somehow that isn't all going to translate to what it is. And from our understanding was we were supposed to be an adhesion to Treaty 6, and that's why we went there, to be added onto the adhesion. But in the confusion, they took it as Treaty 7, so they wrote us in Treaty 7. And then also with it, what I've heard from my classmates and relatives is that when we went there, there were cannons set up, ready to fire. So if you're going to go into a meeting and basically have it loaded there against you, like, you're pretty much going to agree to what the conditions are because you want to live and you're thinking of your future generation. And what you're deciding at that point is how they're going to live and be in that time. We're not going to be thinking about new developments that are going to go on in the park that we didn't agree to in treaty signing and that are happening now, or new different things that come into the land, that come into existence, that our people ancestors never fathomed back then. And so it's a direct travesty to our people of the way things go nowadays. And you're slowly seeing the things with cows and plows, and then next they're going to do ammunition and twine, and they're doing payouts for these things which are part of treaty, which you really can't pay out part of treaty because it's all together as a bundle. It's like a sacred bundle, but then government is taking pieces of it out and paying it off, and then people are signing it and taking it, thinking, okay, yeah, we'll get this. Not thinking, what about in 10 years if our people have to hunt? What are they going to do then? And they're not thinking about that. It's rather because we live in an instant society right now of doing things, we're doing that with our treaties, and people are unaware of that.
A keeper of the sweat. Is that something that was passed down to you from your grandpa?
Oh, my grandpa gave to me, oh yes. He gave to me when I was a little man, like a young man. And then plus my father, his run all these traditions, what we talk about. He's a keeper too. So my father, he knows all that past. He tells me gift too, and I follow that with the song. Yeah.
Something passed down to generations. So you're the only person, only boy, he can handle these things. So they give it to you so you can take it and go along with it. My grandpa, my great-grandpa, he's a horse whisperer. So I go to him, he tells me everything. Go feed, go do this, go do that.
Families will practice things different. Families will have different teachings, because before we had feather belts, and different families had feather belts and what they could do or what they could take care of. And so different roles that they had, if it was medicine making, if it was outfit making, if it was bow making, if it was the language storytelling. Some will go out on the summer and do family camps. My uncle used to go take the youth up, well, he still does, he takes them on a camp, and then they learn about cooking and traveling and getting ready in their survival techniques. And then as well too, the youth group out here, they do a lot of different things with youth, programming with youth. And so there is a resurgence to go back to that. And because they're able to access grant monies or other monies, then they can do it their way without any other interference and how they see fit. And I guess just basically communities, families in those communities practicing what they know or what they've always done. And so you see glimmers of that within families, camping out, doing things, hide tanning, making meat, making traditional foods, and also ways of harvesting those. I think better access needs to go to everybody in the community to bring them in, because we do have a lot of talented people, a lot of knowledgeable people in our community, and a lot of those things aren't getting passed on because we see that the emergence of addictions and drug substance abuse, and how it's decreasing the ability of our people to do things and live to be the true potential person they need to be.
The most important thing is our language is we still have it. And like, with my generation, my brother, older generation, and the younger generations, like we really try our best to keep it. And then like with me, with my children, I speak, our language to them. And then that's my that's the one thing I'm really proud of within our culture, within our Stoney traditions.
When I had my son, with my beautiful late wife, she really wanted dancing when he was 4. So he told his mom, make me an outfit. I want to dance grass dance. So he made him an outfit. He started dancing in a celebration powwow. And as he grew up, age go up, she made, and I designed the colors. We both worked together. We make outfit for him.
I think today, because that's why my dad and my mom, they passed the grass dance, so I can use it every day to help the people, so they can understand some more, so they can come back some more.
The language, I see a lot of work being done with the language, which is really good.
I'm just proud of it. I'm proud of my Stoney culture, like within my community. My whole community is still speaking the language, and then the younger generations are still speaking it as well too, fluently. And so yeah, that's all we speak is the Stoney in our language to our children. It's within the family and in the school as well too. And I'm glad that I'm proud of that. In the school that they do have a class where they speak our language, and then trying to teach the ones that don't know.
I myself am learning. I stopped for a while because when I was trying to learn, it was being bullying that carried on. And so then I stopped for a while because I was getting ridiculed about how I pronounced things and how I said things. And so, but I know there are those that encourage me or that talk with me or share with me. And so I appreciate that. So I think it's going to be the language is our paramount, because it ties us to the land, it ties us to the animals and the ceremonies and the connection to everything, our kinship. Having not dealt with their issues, and I think that's something that comes from intergenerational trauma, or that those in residential school.
And so just for me who are unfamiliar with the term, what does intergenerational trauma just mean?
So it would mean what our ancestors experienced, the trauma and abuse and crises and assaults put on them by others, and then they grew up with that, not having a way of coping with it and dealing with it, and then learning that is normal, as being normality, and then having never dealt with those losses of abandonment or having no attachment, and then carrying that on, becoming parents, not knowing how to parent because of residential school, and then coping with addictions or alcohol, different ways, and then their kids see that, and then their kids pass that on, and not having that coping mechanism to teach them to regulate or how to be a nurturing parent, a loving parent. And so instead we get this cycle that keeps going, and where people get drowned more into trauma, and it's actually it's in our, or it follows in our body. And so a certain time of the year we may feel off or something not there, and so maybe there was an experience our ancestors went through at that time that was horrific, and so it's coming back to us because it wasn't dealt with. And so these things get passed on to us until we do the healing. And when we can do the healing, what we're doing is helping heal that past generation, but heal this generation presently ourselves, and then also provide healing for our future generations.
It would be good to see programs like classes or some sort of like a classes or programs to be going on, so that we can teach the younger generations for what we know and what we've been taught by our older generation. And I think that would be like a good positive, it would set out a positive vibe out there for our younger generations, so to keep our traditions alive.
I think our values or teachings of helping each other, to be mindful of how you are in this world or how you carry yourself, because what you do has effects on your family, and it affects your children, it affects your area, your people, even the land where you lived. It just being aware of that and taking care and being compassionate. We need legislation done to give us back those freedoms that we had before, that existed before contact. And those things need to be done as a way of reconciliation, because we can say many things, but until we do something with the legislation, with these policies and acts that control our people, we're still under colonial rule. If we want to go to the hot springs, we could go there today, but we have to pay and get in and everything and use the services. Whereas traditionally our people would have gone there and they would have been there, they would have used it and gone back and forth at different times. So then it's not the same. Plus too, there's a different kind of energy there now, because there's buildings built there and it isn't in its traditional capacity of how it used to be when our people would go generations ago. I think it has to come from a grassroots, from the people and the relatives coming together. The way we operate within our reserve systems is we're doing it by a colonial method with a elected chief and council, and it isn't our traditional leadership. And I think there has to be more of a understanding and our people learning that the way we're being governed right now isn't our traditional leadership. And more people are under thinking this is how we live our life. And then as I learn more, and as I see with our family and others out there who are the grassroots people doing the work, just a lot more knowledge has to come about in sharing that information, because a lot of people think in a colonial way and they don't even realize it. And so, yeah.